to actually generate money from our existing service part and try to put that into the marketing plan? Or do you think the first idea should be to let that part as it is be and then go for an investor as the first thing and try to get something from that?
No, I think that there are multiple ways of doing it. That's it. All of these, there are no right or wrong answers from my perspective. Maximization of revenue should be the goal, right? Forget about product, software, whatever. Maximization of revenue should be the goal. So, if you're doing something for somebody, even if you get 1 rupee for an alternate use of that, you should be looking for it. Then you start to say, look, to earn 1 rupee, if I'm going to have to spend 2 rupees of my mind share and time, then it's not worth it, right? So each company will have multiple sources of revenue for what they do. Now, if you develop something, which you are using, let's say, internally, and you think it has got value, it's a tool which has got value for others, then you got to say, look, I can get somebody, to come and market this. There are companies in the US, for instance, where these kind of tools, you can just post it, it's like a SaaS platform, like Amazon, and people who use it, they send you a credit card, 10 rupees, $20, $30. You can do that. That's a model which is available, So, your goal must be, what is my main business? Where do I see the majority of the growth? The majority of the growth is in building the services business. I'll focus on that. But I'm not going to lose the opportunity to earn any revenue I can, which does not take too much of my time. Now that can be either you just doing it, getting a partner to do it, incentivizing somebody from within your own organization and say, look, you run it as a separate business, I'll give you 25% of the profit, but you're entirely on a performance-based wage. I'm not going to give you a salary. So there are very different models. If you think of selling and things as if you got to divorce it totally, you can create all of that within the same organization. But the goal must be, if there is money, I'm not going to leave money on the table. If there is some money to be made, I'm going to make it consistent with the time I spend. So in response to your question, I would say look at all of these alternatives. But if you have developed something which you think can be multiple used, and this is a new emerging market, right? There are lots of companies which are looking for platforms and software, and that's why the SaaS model will eventually develop. Where you just go and download something, and it does not have to be, for instance, if you have internally developed something just for your HR, performance management system. In the old days, you developed it, you left it. Now you have another revenue source. You can say, I'll just post it in the on the web. If somebody wants to use my model, they can use it. It's like YouTube. Eventually they'll figure out that when you click on YouTube, somebody will get paid. So what is that for you? Anything and everything, try to monetize it.
Chandra, these are a very valid question. I think some of us here are struggling with that. Perhaps it may not be as much of an issue in the valley and in the way where the awareness level will be a little higher. I think one of the important questions is asked is, I have a product. Do I self-fund it, or do I take professional investment money? What are the
professional investment money comes in when the size of the market is large. Size of the market is large, and people are saying it is worth gambling. I'm going to put more money to develop the product. So yes, if you think what you have developed has got a sizable market, then you can get professional money. They will not be interested in small businesses, professionals. But that, in my view, is very rarely the case. Most of the things, don't rise to the level of somebody coming and saying, oh, all it needs is more money and more muscle, and this will develop. But there are plenty. Now, this has revolutionized the world, right? For 99 cents, I can download any apps. What are the apps in each one of your companies? There are multiple apps. Here, for a flashlight, there are 20 different variations of flashlight. does is post it on the platform. And I might download this, somebody else might download that. The guy doesn't even know. He just gets a 50 cents check from Apple or AT&T. That is the future. In my view, I will try to articulate this. That in the past, the companies which were the big companies were either product companies, service companies, or whatever it is. I suggest that in the future, the largest companies in the world are going to be platform companies. Apple is a platform. To reach the customer, people are going to develop the apps. Put it on Apple. There are millions of applications. Each one of them will earn $1. Every time somebody clicks on Apple. But Apple will get 40 cents of that. So the people who build the platform are looking for more apps. And every company, I would suggest to you, has apps. And this is an extra source of revenue which nobody is monetizing now. So subject to protection of IP, if there is something that you are doing which you think even one other person can use it, and I go back to this analogy of you can earn 1 rupee more, but it doesn't cost you more than 1 rupee to do it, or time, then you should do it. And I'll tell you, if you take this example, just come to Chandigarh. If you look at the companies you guys have here, between yourself, each one of you has developed some internal thing for your own organization. You could have a cooperative. You could say, I've got this HR system, if anybody else wants to use it, let's pay. I'll use your sales tracking system. I'll use this system. I'll create a Chandigarh app store.
It's a thought. I think where you run into them in a small town is also issues that I really don't want to share.
Yeah.
I do need it, but I don't want to share.
See, in the end, if you don't share, you can't earn.
Yes. And I think that's the start of a very vicious cycle where you need it, but you're not willing to share. Because you're not willing to share, you don't get the next dollar. So you.
No. I tell you, I think that sometimes we make assumptions for others. I think in the end, the business and the economic imperatives of somebody, just like we said, something somebody has built has always got some value to somebody. The question is trying to find that somebody, right? For somebody, even the smallest system. That is why there are these new companies in your area coming up. This guy, what's his name? There's a charter number in Bombay. All he does is, he manages networks and stuff.
Yes.
For people.
Yeah, I know.
And very, very good lucrative business. He's figured out a way to say all these small companies need the same thing. I build it. So he's a SaaS platform for himself.
Yeah, even Prashant from Plug HR.
Yeah. That's a guy.
Yeah, he was helping.
You see, Prashant is the model.
Yeah.
See, Plug HR. So what is Plug something that you have built that you can just allow? But again, it is all these questions have the same answer. Don't let it divert you from what you want to do. Take it as additional income, which comes in, which just automatically flows through,
So basically your suggestion would be to actually look for all the opportunities possible, no matter if it is an investor, if possible.
Yeah, you are your own investor. For best investor is really if you can make money from it yourself, rather than bringing somebody else, unless it is something that you have developed, which has got such a huge market, and the time to ramp up and sell is very short. Then you bring somebody else in just to give that lift, But if it's going to generate cash flows for you, and it's not going to detract you from the main source of the business, and as a businessman, I'm sure you're constantly looking for additional revenue.
Another question, actually, in fact, that's the second part of this question. If things went towards the investor side, then would have actually made more sense. But let me still ask you. Obviously, you developed something. You are now right in front of the investors. You have approached 3 or 4 of them. You showed them the business plans, how the future is going to be. Obviously, you are painting the picture. In fact, in the last event that we had, Prashant actually mentioned something like that. Painting the picture is the main thing. So we are painting the picture and stuff. Obviously, we are at a level where it doesn't have much of a value at all. Now, when you are trying to convince the investor, like, how do you really actually evaluate the whole thing? I mean, they have like these documents and stuff where there are some specific questions like, what is the value of your product? What do you see will be the value of your product after 10 years? And all these kind of things. For a person who is obviously not from all this stuff, I mean, what is the best way to actually, answer these kind of things? I mean, obviously, there is no way to actually tell anyone that, hey, this is the total value of my product. If I'm saying that, as you said, if the market is big, who's going to use my product? And I say one of my competitors is already selling it and they've already sold it to less than 3 million people. They already have 3 million users on their stuff. We can, even if we get only 10,000, we can actually evaluate and we'll be earning approximately $500,000 a month. I'm saying anyway, but is there a thumb rule or is there a special method to actually calculate these things when you're actually doing a product?
Whenever you go for funding, the person